There's a fish. Got him, got him. Saw him come in, take it. The easiest way for me to tell was I could see the lure disappear into his mouth, which is why I fish bright lures, especially in those early morning and evening hours when there's a little light. Ooh, it's a nice fish. Pretty rainbow. There we go. Beautiful. First one of the day, sight fishing. So instead of relying on electronics today, I'm going to be sight fishing for rainbows through the ice. This is really good early season when they're feeding up relatively shallow near shore, especially above weed beds. And if you don't have a fish finder, I'm always surprised at the number of people who will go ice fishing for trout and they'll just sit there and jig blindly even without a fish finder, when a lot of times, especially like I said early season, when they're feeding the top 10 foot of the water column, one of the best things you can do is just sort of crowd over your hole with a bucket or a stool, or even stand over it, look down and watch them take your lure visually. And today I'm going to give you some tips on sight fishing for rainbow trout through the ice. All right, let's get another fish. So besides positioning, that is orienting yourself directly over the hole, you want to be in a position where you're going to minimize the ability of trout to see you. So you want to do that by two ways. So the first thing you don't want to do, especially with snow, is you don't want to clear a big patch of snow away. You want to make it hard for the trout to detect you. You're shallow. They're going to be able to see you a little bit easier. So what you want to do is just clear out snow right around that hole. Obviously, you need to have your hole absolutely clear so that you can see all the way through and there's no breakup of the detectability of that lure and of that fish. So make sure you keep that as clear as possible, but keep a nice bit of snow around you. You want to minimize your movement. So position yourself so that your arm is sort of behind and away and protected so that the fish can't see you. So you can see I have the rod tip right over the center here, but I have my hand down and away. I can flip hands, that way I can have one in my coat pocket. But I'm keeping my jigging motion so that only the rod tip is moving and they can't see the rest of my arm moving. Now I do have a camera down there so that you guys can see it, but the camera's behind me. I can't see the camera screen, so I'm just using my own ability to visually detect the trout. That's why I use a bright lure, because if I fish a little bit deeper, I can't see the fish as well. But I can see that fish. But I can see that lure disappear in the fish's mouth at depth. Sometimes I'll just see the lure get bumped. That's a good hit. He's still going for it. Come back, come back. There he is, got him. Nice fish. Oh, he came off. That was funny. I just sitting there, all of a sudden, boom, I saw the jig disappear in his mouth. See if we can get another. It's very cold out here this morning, so I keep freezing over. Oh, there's a fish. Just saw it come by. There he is, got him. Yeah. You definitely have to be quiet when they're sitting right underneath the ice like that. And typically I'm going to be fishing within 10 foot of the hole, more often than not 5 foot. So don't want to be moving around, making a lot of sound. Don't want to be talking a bunch. And that will help you get a hold of those fish. There we go. Pretty little rainbow. Let's get him going. And that's why I really like these big, white or chartreuse lures. I can watch it disappear into the mouth. That's really what I'm relying on. I'm not even watching my rod tip. I'm just watching for that lure to disappear. Because right now, with the shadows cast on the lake by the mountains, I can only just see flashes of the fish as they come by. Usually that white on the tips of their fins, or I see the flash of the white of their mouth as they try and strike at it. And I'm just relying on that lure just vanishing from my view as an indication of a strike. This typically works best, like I said, in early ice season. When fish are shallow, you obviously need pretty good water clarity. But yeah, it's always interested to me that it's like a lot of folks will blind fish trout because they don't have an ice fish finder or sonar or flasher. But they'll just sit there and blind jig, and a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, there's no fish here," but they may actually have fish there. They're just not detecting the strike, or they're just not paying attention. And it's pretty easy to just, peek over the edge of the hole and keep an eye out for fish swimming by. At least you know if there's fish there or not. That's the tough thing about once the sun comes out is the fish can see you and your movement, and you're fishing so tight to the surface that sometimes it spooks them away. There's fish. It's spooky. They got him. Just barely saw it disappear in his mouth. Now today I'm fishing rainbows, but they will tend to move out deeper as the ice season progresses. So if you're fishing for a brook trout, you'll find, oh, there he goes, it popped off. You'll find brook trout will tend to hold tighter, shallower, and longer. Especially if you get really clear ice, the late season, the rainbows will tend to move out and hold deeper, but the brookies will tend to hold shallow. Now, I have the benefit of having a lot of snow already, which helps to mask my movements and diffuse the light a little bit. But if you start getting a lot of glare, especially with a lot of clear ice, and have a hard time seeing the lure or seeing the fish, then I highly recommend getting some polarized sunglasses. I'm just really just staring at the lure and watching to see the lure disappear into their mouth more than anything at this point, because the snow shadows are causing it to basically just look black down there, except for the white lure that I can see. The camera actually shows it a lot better. You guys are seeing a lot more than I am. There he is. I saw his mouth come and take it. Just vanished. It's a nice fish. It's a big one. Oh. A lot of water up on top of the ice, so just get him to swim up on top. It'll be easy. There we go. Pretty fish. I think it's gorgeous. Look at that fish, guys. That thing is awesome. I think I'm going to make that one my last fish of the day. Really fun day out here sight fishing for these beautiful rainbows. Alright, let's get this guy going. There he goes.